Maybe it's all a bit too much for the markets to absorb this week, and maybe because it's Friday. I mean, I think, you know, the attention has focused on the tweet on trade earlier in the week, then the Fed's, change in tone. And both were obviously very positive for markets in Asia. So we saw a very strong day on both Wednesday and on Thursday. So I think there's just consolidation now. I think specifically with your question on oil and around US, I think for Asia it's not such a big thing for equities here. I think that when you've looked at the oil price and the spikes in the past, it hasn't impacted markets as much as maybe it did 10 or 15 years ago. And I think the consumption story has still remained relatively strong. I think where it has impacted Asian markets more has been those deficit countries and those dollar borrowers. And the good news with the tone of the Fed is that they are under less pressure. So, Indonesia hasn't seen much of a sell-off. India, we haven't seen a lot of concern. So I think partly because those economies have been through their election cycle, the deficits are looking in a bit of a better position than they were. And secondly, because of the direction of the dollar, I think that's going to ease the pressure. So net, probably more positive.
Okay, so on the Fed, Jim Turney over at Alliance Bernstein, talking to the FT, had this to say. He said that Wednesday's decision, the Fed that is, means that whatever happens on the trade front, the Fed has the administration's back. He calls it a wonderful insurance policy. Fair?
Yeah, but, again, looking at the global economy, Europe's in a different position, Japan's in a different position. So, we can't take it all as one. I think that, the Fed has some room to cut, and clearly the tone is that if we are going to see a negative impact from the trade wars, and my view on that is that it's very hard to get a very positive outcome now. That the best case scenario, it's still that the relationship is damaged and that we might avoid these extra tariffs.
Which means the Fed is going to have to cut.
But yeah, I think global growth is going to come under pressure, and this is at a time when US equities are at an all-time high. So again, I think the attractions of Asia from a valuation perspective look okay. What's holding me back from being very positive is simply earnings, and corporate earnings in Asia are certainly looking flat, maybe even declining this year because of the big drag on the tech. And
we'll get to that in just a bit.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.